Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Kodemanch, and today I wanted to talk about a common element in all fantasy, the magical sword. And this is going to be Reading the Prose, episode 3. And so, um, the magical sword we're going to focus on today is a magical sword from Janny Wurts' Curse of the Mistwraith. And we're going to go over a passage in here that describes a sword, and I thought it was just done so well that I wanted to put this forth. Uh, the reason why is because I find her prose extremely well done. It's beautifully written, and I thought it was just a great description of a magical sword using the magical sword trope that is common in a lot of fantasy. And I think she just does a beautiful job using that trope to the best advantage possible in this book. There's been a lot of famous swords, of course, over the years. We have more recently we have like Dragnipur and Ericsson's Malazan Book of the Fallen series, but we also have swords, the Sword of Shannara, Terry Brooks. That was a famous, extremely bright sword that shut off magic or something like that. And there's been a bunch of books named after swords. Terry Goodkind had the Sword of Truth, and I think there was somebody like, oh yes, Gemmell, David Gemmell had the Swords of Night and Day, and then the Swords of Blood and Fire, and even A Song of Ice and Fire had swords made out of a special steel, Valerian steel, that made them, special as far as what they could do. And even Conan had Akbatanan steel, yeah. And so swords have been going back all the way back to Conan, and even before that. Of course, we have the most famous sword of all, probably, is Excalibur from the King Arthur legend, myth, and tons of fantasy stuff. Excalibur, the sword in the stone, also known as the sword that was given by the Lady of the Lake to King Arthur. And so that's probably our most famous version of a sword. But, anyways, into Reading the Prose, Curse of the Mistwraith by Janny Wurts. The description of this sword in here first appears upon my copy, page 164, but it's towards the end of chapter 5. And so I'm just going to put these words up on the screen so you can follow along. Um, the dark blade slipped from the scabbard with a sweet, cold ring. From the instant the tip cleared the god loop, Arathorn was touched by a haunting sensation like song, like loss, like a peal of perfect harmony set vibrating upon the air. His ears rang to the timbre so pure his heart flinched, and the sword in his hands came alive. Light ripped along the silvered lines of inlay, blindingly intense, a shimmer like harmony distilled to an exaltation of universal creation. I love that description. I thought it was just so beautiful, and it's just set the tone and mood of the moment so well when this sword is like drawn and used for the first time in the novel by one of the main characters in there. And so that is how she uses the trope of the sword in this book to excellent effect in that manner. Of course, there's a whole bunch of other tropes going on in this book that she uses even to greater effect. We get the couple of princes with the prophecy and stuff like that. But we'll get into that later whenever I finish this book. It's I'm over halfway through now, and But I just wanted to put forth that little piece of prose to give you an appreciation for what Wirtz is doing in her prose and in her story here. And I guarantee you that as much detail as she put into that description of that sword, she also does for her whole world and here and her characters, and her setting, and her description of magic and sorcerers and everything else. So that's just a taste, and that is this episode of Reading the Prose. Let me know if you have any other great descriptions of magical swords that you want to point out in some of the fantasy stories that we've all read, and I'd like to hear about it. Please like and subscribe, and let me know. All right, thank you, and be good to each other.